Hey everyone, it is Fact Friday. Quickly I wanted to thank everybody who had nice things to say to me all week. It's always appreciated. It never goes unnoticed. I just wanted to thank all of you. I'm glad that my Get Ready With Me video went over well. I felt like I was kind of taking a risk there and trying something new, so I am happy. So we have some good questions this week, and I just want to encourage everybody, you never have to apologize if you want to send me questions or asks or anything. I'm happy to help all the time, so no need to apologize. I appreciate it all the time. I'm never angry. It does not bother me. If I have not responded to you immediately, it's probably because I'm at school. Okay, so the other day, when I was kind of talking about what is happening with the Bronco, I mentioned that John and I got into a car accident and our car was totaled, and some people were like, what are you talking about? So I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. So last summer, we used to have this really cool blue truck, and it was the best, and here's a picture of it. And John loved this truck. It was the truck, when I met him, it was the truck he had, and I had good feelings about it. Ooh. So we were out in New Jersey in the Pine Barrens, and if you're not familiar with the Pine Barrens, I have a couple of videos on it because we do go there kind of frequently. The Pine Barrens is kind of just like this natural, quarry that filled up with water, and there's a lot of wildlife, and people swim, and a lot of people do off-roading and truck stuff. So we are in the Pine Barrens. We were probably swimming or doing truck stuff, and we were going to the gas station, and we had our turn signal on to turn left into the gas station, and we were waiting for the opposing traffic to finish, and before we could even finish that turn, a car hit us, and they hit us at 60 miles an hour, and later when the forensics guy came, he said that they didn't even tap on the brakes. They hit us with the full force of their vehicle. They hit us, but we were in that truck, so we, with the force of whatever hit us, since John already had the wheel turned to pull into this gas station, it pushed us forward into the gas station, which we're so lucky that the traffic wasn't still coming, and we went to the gas station. John's foot was on the clutch pedal, so the clutch got destroyed. So we were in there, and we look over, and it's I don't know cars, but it's a little race car, and I have a picture of it. So we look over, and I'm like, are they dead? They have to be dead. All the airbags are deployed, the front of their car is completely scrunched in, and 10 seconds go by, and the dude opens his car, and he's like, do you guys have a cigarette? And John is like, what the that's his truck, how dare he? And this dude had a cell phone that was so big. This cell phone was this big. And he's he had all this jewelry on, and later after we got the police report, we googled his name, and he was an aspiring model. And no offense to aspiring models, but we were really mad. So it was pretty weird. So him and the person he was driving with both get out, and they're both chain smoking cigarettes from the gas station, and the one guy walks away. And I don't really know what to do, but when we got hit, my head, smashed against the dashboard. So I'm, dizzy and, feeling weird and, feeling like I escaped death. So obviously I'm crying, and I'm crying a lot. I think John was okay. I don't, stiff arms or something. I think he only hit the steering wheel, but he was fine. And I called the police because, I don't know. That's my nature. Not to call the police all the time, that's not my nature. But I just figured, what's the next step? I don't know. Bad car accident? the guy at the gas station didn't even flinch. So I call the cops and they get there really quickly. We're in like a kind of small town, so every cop on the force shows up. And thankfully my tattoos are covered. I had like a flannel that I was wearing like all the time, and I was wearing knee-high socks. So I was pretty covered, which was good because I had one little tattoo showing, my XO, on my knee. And they asked me so many questions about just that. And they asked us questions like, if you're from Philly, why are you here? Like all of this stuff. And then, since they'd gotten there so fast, the guy who had walked behind the gas station, they were like, why is he back there? He's dumping drugs. So I was like, I don't know if he is. He hit us though, so he's not my friend. So they like search his car, they search him. He's upset, but like I like not really. And I just like am imagining him upset because I really think he didn't give a fuck. And the whole time he was like, I'm not from here. I'm from Maryland. And I'm like, we're from Philly. We're not from here either. You still hit us. So we got stuck there for a long time. And because like a regular tow truck can't tow John's car, we had to get like a special tow truck. And then that guy, he only had one eye. I'm like not kidding. So that was like a whole thing. But in New Jersey, whatever kind of car accident that was considered a felony or something. So John had to go to court twice, and both times our like Hollister model guy didn't show up. Sorry, he was wearing Hollister. So he didn't show up both times, and the third time John didn't go because John had to drive all the way to New Jersey every time to appear in court. So by the third time, John was like, whatever. Insurance paid John out the value of his car because it was totaled. So they gave John the value of the truck, but I think the truck was like an 80 something, so the value wasn't really high. John still talks about it. John still talks about being super angry, but that's what happened. We didn't die. My left eye twitched for like 6 weeks following. I think just from like hitting my head, there was a little nerve damage. No big deal. Anyway, that went on for too long. Do you have any pets? So, I right now do not have any pets. There are pets that live in this house that I also live in, so they're more like roommates than like a pet of mine. We have three cats, I think. There used to be 6 cats here, and when John's sister moved out, she took 3 of the cats. I think that's it. I think that's as many cats live here. I really don't know. Me, like, right now, I cannot take responsibility for a pet. At my old house, we had a cat who passed away, and it was, like, really, really traumatic. We had adopted him and felt like we were saving his life, and he was super cool, and he belonged to all of us. And he started to get really sick. He had a bladder infection, and then he started to have seizures, and his hospital bill like quadrupled in like one night, and it just became so much money for like just a small house of people to take care of him. And I remember I had like a fundraiser for him and everything like that, and it broke my heart because we did have to put him to sleep. And then it's like, oh, but we raised all these funds for his medical bills and everything. Well, it's like, well, he's still dead. And we paid off his medical bills years after he passed. And that was like so hard for me that I feel really jaded now because I love pets and I love animals. But as hard as I tried, my cat still died. And when I was younger, I had a cat. She was my world. I loved her to death. And we moved. We used to live in a trailer park, and my cat would go in and out of the house like really openly. Like she did whatever she wanted. She would like walk with me to my friend's house. Like she was super cool, and it was just the vibe of the trailer park. A lot of people had indoor outdoor cats. And we moved like out of the trailer park into like townhomes, and she kind of thought she could still do that, and I did too. So she would walk outside with me, same old, and you know, hang out outside, and then at the end of the night, her and I would go back inside. Like, that was always our routine. That was her and I. Sorry. So one night, or one day, whatever, she came outside, and one of our neighbors captured her and took her to the ASPCA as a stray. And, you know, the first day I, like, didn't notice that she wasn't home. I was, like, in high school, like, doing my own thing. And then, like, 2 or 3 days went by, and I was like, where's Mocha Cat? And, I guess she had been at the shelter, like, with no tags, because I didn't keep a collar on her, because I thought, like, that was weird. So she was put to sleep after my neighbor, like, captured her. And then later, my neighbor saw me, like, looking for her, and I guess, like, made the connection, and then came one day to apologize to me. She was like, honey, I'm really sorry. That was me who captured your cat, and they have put her to sleep. And I was, like, destroyed. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was standing next to my mom couldn't believe it, and I think my mom saw me, like, the pressure rising, and my mom put me inside, because I was gonna freak out, and put that neighbor to sleep, and all of that. So I waited inside, like, at the window, like, and apparently my mom figured out something with that woman. Hopefully called her some names, but I never saw that lady leave the house again. And that's right, she shouldn't have. So yeah, like, in this world, I've experienced only heartbreak when I've had pets, and I hope that John and I will, like, maybe have pets in the future. I would love to have a dog that we could, like, coexist with, and, like, more, like, of a dog roommate, and not, like, a dog pet. Like, I'd rather have a companion animal than, like, a little thing that I just, like, take Instagram pictures of. I'd love to have a dog that just, like, lives in our house with us. That's my goal. But it's so far out of reach. Like, I want to be there for my pet all the time. I want to be financially responsible if, like, it has to go to the vet, and I want to have time to give him or her it if it, like, wants to walk or hang out with me, and, like, yard space, and, like, just me and my dude. So I'm not there yet, and either is John. What shows do I like? So, my favorite show of all time is The Office. I've seen every episode of The Office. I've seen it a million times. I rule at any Office trivia. I'm the shit. Like, I was put on this earth to watch The Office, and that's my favorite show of all time. I can watch it over and over and over and over and over again. And if I'm ever just, like, alone in my room and want company, I'll pull it up on Netflix, and that is, like, my comfort food for life. Other shows, like, I treat 30 Rock the same way I love 30 Rock. I have this really old video I deleted that was, like, me wishing that I was, like, a punk rock Tina Fey. Like, I love 30 Rock. I could watch that a million times too. Parks and Rec is great. I haven't watched Parks and Rec all the way through yet. I'm a little sad that it ends, and, like, all my favorite shows end, but the ending I, like, saw coming, like, saw the interviews, saw everyone crying together, and I just don't want to, like, finish that show, like, in my heart, so I'm, like, waiting to do that. And those are, like, my all-time favorite shows of life. There are a lot of shows that I'll try out, and a lot of shows that I'll watch, and I've watched all the way through. Lost, I watched so many times, and I just still keep crying. What's your favorite comfort food? So, I get a lot of people tell me that all I eat are processed food. I get comments on all my grocery things that are like, oh, you know, lots of processed food, you're gonna die. And I'm like, can't tell people they're gonna die, it's not cool. But yeah, I do eat a lot of processed food. I wasn't always like that. I used to live in a house with a roommate who made dinner from scratch every single night. She had a vegetable garden and a spice garden and all that cool stuff, and I loved it and it was great. But now that I'm living in a space where the kitchen doesn't really feel like it belongs to me, I don't like to take up a lot of space with appliances. I don't like to take up a lot of space with ingredients. So all the amenities I used to have in my old kitchen, crock pot, food processor, blender, spice cabinet, like these things are not available to me, and it is not my place to put them in this house that does not belong to me either. I am I don't know, a fly on the wall here, and that's how I try to keep it. But I also don't like eating out a lot either, so I have to find some comfortable median, and a lot of it is like TV dinners or quick microwave. So that's where a lot of those processed foods like really come in handy. Rice meals and pasta dishes, like these are my go-tos. My favorite comfort food is still macaroni and cheese. I put a little peas in there because I love peas, and a little bit of like meat crumbles, and that is my favorite thing on this earth right now. I love those. They're in the freezer section. They're by Amy's. Some other comfort food I really like. There is a vegan, like fast food style restaurant by my school, and they have milkshakes, and their milkshakes are like $6. One of my followers, super nice of you, actually sent me like a password to like stay at Hip City Veg to get like a couple dollars off. So that password has been saving my life, girl. But I get a chocolate milkshake whenever I'm like at school and I'm like, I'm dropping out, I'm over it. Do your own highlights. I'll go down to the store, get a little chocolate milkshake, $6. It's really expensive. Have a couple sips. I drink it in like under a minute. It's very crude, but that's like that. I don't know. That satiates me and cools my heart. I love those. So that's at Hip City Veg. And then like same with like coffee drinks. Like I always get an iced coffee, and in the winter I get a drip, and that's just like my standard cool customer, like, oh, I'm cool, I just get a coffee. But if like the odds are against me, I'm gonna get an espresso drink, and I'll usually get a double shot iced soy latte, and that makes me feel like $1 million. But it also costs $1 million, so I only get it when I'm like here. And my opinion on suicide girls. So I had this question the other day, and I put it off a little bit just because I wanted to gather my thoughts and come up with like a good answer. I feel like I have known about the suicide girls since my time on MySpace, because suicide girls used to have a MySpace that linked to their website. And just from browsing around MySpace, you know, it must have been like 2003, I came across all of their stuff, and it was my first experience with tattooed and like alternative models being perceived positively. And I talk about this a lot. I feel like women aren't always perceived positively with tattoos, and it was my first time that they were beautiful with like soft lighting, and you know, their tattoos were exposed, and they obviously weren't naked because it was on MySpace, and their free version of their website, however many years ago, showed no nudity. I think you had to pay to see like the all access stuff, which I didn't, because like I was very like nervous about porn always. So if I would even like the bra pictures, I was like, I'm sorry, click. But it was like really inspiring to me, and it always like really motivated me to see these like women in a like being empowered and feeling beautiful and perceived as beautiful, and like the comments of like people like enjoying them and wanting them and finding them beautiful and sexy. And Back then, a lot of the suicide girls used to have blog features, really similar to like Tumblr and Xanga, and all you guys know, I live to blog. So it was really interesting to be able to see these pictures of these women and then read their blogs and see what their everyday life was like, and that was something really unique to me and something that I think gave me early confidence, which helped build to the confidence I have now. I don't know. However, everything has changed since then. I know that they have an Instagram, and from their Instagrams you can like see all the different girls and the women in their lives, but it's not as personal as it used to be with like the daily blogs and like the photos and them all out to eat. And they used to do like a burlesque, like traveling sideshow or whatever, and you could watch that on their podcasts, and their podcasts were always like to really cool music. Like they always had like a Radiohead one, which is one of my favorite bands, and it was just beautiful, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know much about how it is now, as I started to lose interest the more it became like hypersexualized, and I don't think it's any fault of the women. I think it just has to do with like tattoos being sexualized, and not all the models have tattoos, but I think that's just where a lot of it comes from. And like at work, people would ask me if I was a suicide girl, people would talk to me about that stuff, and I don't want it to come back to me, but I think that those women are great, and I'm glad that there's a platform for alternative models. I think it has really grown, and more you'll see like alternative models in like press and print ads and things like that. It's very accepted, and I think that those women made grounds for all of that acceptance, so I think that's great. I haven't really looked or thought about them in a long time, but I always thought they were great, and happy for them. Yeah, and I have no issue with it. I just don't like me and other tattooed women to feel hypersexualized because of that, or to be called a suicide girl or whatever. But that probably would have just happened anyway. So these are 5 facts, 5 Fact Friday. Always taking your submissions. Don't ever apologize. Hit me up on Snapchat. I'm always down. I'm always psyched. Thank you so much for 26,000 followers. You guys are great. This week was my 100th video, and I'm so excited to share it with you guys with daily videos and everything. I have a bonus video for us today, and I'm so excited for it. I think it's gonna be awesome, and until next time, thank you guys so much. If there's something you want me to see, hashtag it Qcknd, and I love you guys. Bye.